Welcome into the channel. Let's talk some Texans here on the YouTube page. What to make of the final practice before the preseason opener against the New England Patriots. How much should CJ Stroud play in that preseason game? Which players am I excited to watch in the preseason game? Which players are you excited to watch in the preseason game? We're talking about all that and so much more here on the page today. I would definitely appreciate a subscription down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, a like is always helpful as well. Share this with somebody that you think would enjoy it. And of course, www.houfootball.com for all my writing about the Houston Texans, where you get the 11 observations sent right to your email after practice each day the Texans have practice. Oh, by the way, 11 observations after the first preseason game as well. Plenty to get to. Appreciate everybody showing up live and appreciate anybody watching it after the fact the next day or later on. Let's talk a little bit about this last practice before the preseason opener against the New England Patriots. It was a good workout, I thought, for a Tuesday to finish up an off day Wednesday, a travel day, and to find themselves playing the Patriots in a preseason game on Thursday. A lot of stuff to get to. Let's start with the CJ Stroud stuff and then work through the rest of it. Stroud started the day actually a little rocky. I was like, uh-oh, what's going to happen here? That first pass was a little bit behind Robert Woods, and Jimmy Ward probably should have had himself an interception. You know, Jimmy Ward's got some actual game experience, so it doesn't bother him. But, you know, if this was a guy trying to make the roster, this would keep him up at night. You know, you'd be kicking yourself if you dropped this one. So I was like, uh-oh, that's a little bit of a shaky start to things here for CJ Stroud. But things got going at a pretty good pace after that. Hit Noah Brown in some traffic, you know, right between some defenders. Noah Brown kind of lifted up, made the play in the air, came down with it. That was a really nice play. They mixed in a couple of runs. It's very clear that this offense is going to rely on the rushing attack to calm down CJ Stroud. It's going to rely on the rushing attack to give them something of note from an offensive standpoint to really help set up that passing attack. It's going to kind of be the whoopee for Bobby Slowick and the offense, it seems. When all else fails, hey, let's hand the ball to Dameon Pierce. Hey, let's hand the ball to Devin Singletary and see how this thing ultimately goes. And they're going to run the ball. And they ran the ball really well in this practice. But this is about Stroud here. Had some really nice plays, just kind of knocked away from a variety of defenders. You know, he was looking for Dalton Schultz over the middle, and Christian Harris came flying in for a pass breakup. You know, Robert Woods had Jalen Petrie on him, like wide on Rice at one point. Like, there was some really good coverage early on. And then one of the plays of training camp happened. And I'm going to show you guys the video here. I'm going to add it to the stream. But I don't know that this really does it justice. This is one of the best plays Stroud made all training camp to this point. It was the play of the day. And I'm going to show you the play, and then I'm going to explain to you why this doesn't really even do the play that much justice. He's waiting. Boom, drops it over to Mechie over on the sideline. Looks pretty simple. You know, looks pretty simple. But what he did in that play and how it went was anything but simple, and it's one of the best plays of all of training camp. It was fantastic to see that from CJ Stroud because it took some maneuvering within the pocket. You kind of saw a little bit of it there. It took some maneuvering in the pocket to try to get that thing squared away and to nail that thing. And it was lofted perfectly to Mechie. I mean, you saw it. Boom. Both feet inbounds, out of bounds, first down. Lofted perfectly over the defender, in front of the other defender coming in. Just a perfect pass. And that's a pass that I don't know the first couple of days Stroud makes that throw. I don't know that he necessarily even sees that throw, but he's handling that messiness a lot better. He's handling it a lot better. And we've talked about it a ton on the channel and on the website as well. How's he going to handle that messy pocket? He's handling it a lot better. And so they go from that, you know, they have some more work there, and then they go into some situational, and this was really fun to watch. It was third down and in some of these situationals. So they started with third down and 4, and then it was third down and 8, and then it was third down and 12. And so 3rd down and 4, and they got one play. So his first team offense, boom, they're done after their play. Then second team offense comes in. So the first play, Stroud scanning, everybody's kind of covered up. He hits Dameon Pierce. Pierce has contact. He can't hold on to it. So, no first down. You're going to have to punt on that one. But on 3rd and 8, the next time Stroud's out there, gets the snap, boom, easy to Robert Woods. Into space, right to Woods, in stride, gets a couple extra yards, easy first down. I love seeing the reading of the field, makes the play. And then 3rd and 12. It's like, okay, 3rd and 12, what are you doing here? Like, are you going to run a screen? You're going to run a little dump off? The tunnel screen? What are they going to do on 3rd and 12 here? Well, 3rd and 12, they let Stroud drop back. Let's practice. I don't know if they do this in the game. But it's 3rd and 12. They let Stroud drop back. Boom. Over the middle, Nico Collins, first down. About 13, 14 yards. Now, Jerry Hughes did come unblocked on that, so it feels like maybe somebody didn't quite hit their blocking assignment. But 3rd and 12, boom, a strike right over the middle to Nico Collins. Really impressive stuff. And then you had a little bit more back and forth from the offense and the defense after that. You had a play action dump off get blown up by Jalen Petrie. And then they followed that up with a really nice sideline throw from Stroud to Dalton Schultz. And then Malik Collins put Kenyon Green on his behind and really kind of blew up a play. And then shortly after that, Stroud's in the pocket. Roy Lopez is bearing down on him. And if you remember a couple weeks ago, Roy Lopez had a sack or tackle for a loss on the very next play. He had a pass breakup. Roy Lopez is bearing down. He's got his big, giant bear paw in Stroud's face. And C.J. Stroud, whips it over to the sideline, first down. So really what I'm getting at here, just to kind of demonstrate and take you through some of these plays, is Stroud's handling of the offense, Stroud's timing with these pass catchers, and Stroud's just decision-making when he needs to eat it, when he needs to take off and run, when he needs to make a easy throw, when he needs to take a chance. Like, it's getting better and better and better. And I know it's so cliche from the coaching staff when they say, well, we just want to see him get better every day. He's legitimately doing that. Like, he's getting better at small things that when you put them all together, it turns out to be a big performance. This guy's a much better quarterback here, finishing day 11 of training camp than he was day 1, 2, 3, day 4, 5, 6. Like, and I say much better, and I want that to ring true. Like, he's a much better quarterback in a short amount of time. Like, that's a testament to him picking things up. It's a testament to Bobby Slowick, Gerard Johnson, the offense coordinator and the quarterback coach, coaching him up and getting him ready for practice each and every day, having him ready to operate each and every day. So really good stuff from C.J. Stroud in the final practice before the preseason game. A little bit about this defense, and I'll get to your comments here in just a moment. We want to get to the defense, some of the other things that stood out in practice, and then we'll get to your comments, and we'll talk a little bit about this preseason game coming up. D'Amico Ryan said the defense didn't have a good enough day from an energy standpoint, didn't like the performance of the defense. I thought the defense had a pretty nice day. I mean, they were flying around. They had some pass breakups. We talked about it. Petrie was all over Robert Woods early. Christian Harris had the pass breakup. Malik Collins was ragdolling Kenyon Green at one point. Will Anderson was in there, and Will Anderson probably had himself another sack, some tackles for a loss, although Laramie Tunsil had a big day. I say a big day. Laramie Tunsil had what you expect to have when he goes up against a rookie, even if it is the 3rd overall pick. Tunsil had a couple of nice reps against Will Anderson. I haven't seen Will Anderson beat Laramie Tunsil just yet in practice. But I thought the defense actually had a pretty solid day, but it's nice to know that D'Amico Ryans is not resting on his laurels. That defense was ahead of the offense. It was ahead of the offense. The offense has climbed back in and then go toe-to-toe with the defense on any given day. And D'Amico seemed to be pretty annoyed from a defensive perspective with the rushing attack and the success that the rushing attack had against his defense. Obviously, as the head coach, he was like, hey, we ran the football pretty well today. And they did. Dameon Pierce had a nice little scamper to the outside where there wasn't a lot of resistance for Dameon Pierce that he had to take care of to find himself in the end zone. Devin Singletary had some shifty stuff where he looked really good a couple of different times. So it was a really solid day for the offense. I didn't think a bad day for the defense, but DeMeco Ryans he probably ripped them all day long when they're watching film at this, because he wasn't happy, and he specifically wasn't happy with the energy level of the defense. Thought they should have been bouncing around a little bit more. But again, there were some solid plays from the defense in this practice. A couple of other standout moments. Xavier Hutchinson had a really nice route, really nice comeback. Davis Mills hit him on a really nice throw. As I mentioned, the defense was picking up some stuff that the offense was doing from a play action standpoint, getting into the backfield and stuff like that. And it looked like the defense was going to have themselves, another sack on the day, and the pocket had kind of collapsed a little bit on CJ Stroud. And then Stroud made a very good throw that I wasn't sure he was capable of this type of throw. He kind of was leaning primarily on one leg, and he kind of changed his arm slot, and he just kind of flicked the ball out to the sideline. Now, it wasn't like a long throw, but it was still to the sideline for a first down, and he was kind of leaning and just flicked the ball out there, and I was like, ooh, I didn't know he had that in the tool belt. So that was a fun play from CJ Stroud, and that will kind of wrap up the conversation for the final practice before the preseason opener. So not a ton of standout stuff. It's not like Dell stood out or Mechie. They were moving the chains at a pretty good pace with the first team offense. DeMeco Ryans seemed pretty upset that was the case. But you got to also be happy with the performance of the offense as well if you're the head coach. So that's the last practice for the preseason opener. We'll talk about how much Stroud should play in the preseason opener here in a moment, but I appreciate your comments, and we will get to those as well. And remember, if you super chat, you go to the front of the line. Good to see everybody in here. STX Texan, really enjoy the 11 observations coming from someone that can't make it to the practices. Hey, I want to be you guys' eyeballs, your ears at this practice, especially if, training camp tickets are hard to come by when they are open practices. Not every practice is open. I want to be able to take you guys into the practice and let you see what I see, and then give you a little bit of analysis on top of that. 11 Bravo, appreciate you for jumping in. Devin, appreciate you for popping in. Did DeMeco specify on who wasn't playing? They kind of kept it close to his vest. He said, you'll see. The tone was basically, you'll see when we go out there and play the preseason game. That was sort of the tone on that. Steven, hey, Cody, good luck branching out on your own. Hope the channel grows. Thank you. You guys can help the channel grow. Subscriptions down below if you're not subscribed. The thumbs up button helps a ton as well. Certainly appreciate that. Giovanni, looks like a sack. If that was a game held way too long. Yeah, I mean, the way I looked at it live and the way I saw it live, it didn't look like it was going to be a sack. It looked like he held on to it and let the play develop. That's just, my opinion of the play. I don't think you could garner necessarily from that clip exactly that it was a sack, but, it's still a nice throw that he makes, regardless if it's a sack or not. And if it is a sack, the coaches will let him know, and he'll know that he can't take that time as well. Sean G, hell yeah. Or what's up, Cody? I'm hyped for Thursday, ready to take CJ's first steps. Defense knowing full well it'll be vanilla. Yeah, it'd be a little vanilla. Case Keenum said maybe a little bit into the bag. Maybe a little bit into the bag. J-Rock, appreciate you swinging by. Underrated player to keep an eye on. Victor will answer that here in just a little while when we get to the Q&A portion. I'm going to star that for a little bit later on. How would you compare these practices to the past years as far as these type of setups? About the same. Bill O'Brien did a little bit more situational stuff, but you've started to see, as the offense has gotten deeper into the playbook, a bit more situational stuff from the Texans offense. and against the defense in practice. So situational was kind of on the table from the very beginning when it came to Bill O'Brien. And then with this crew, they're not afraid to run some situational. Now the offense kind of has its sea legs with the new offense. So compared to David Culley and Lovie Smith, the practices just have more energy. They flow better, and everything's a lot more crisp overall compared to the previous two head coaches. So I really kind of take the most time to compare it to the O'Brien training camps, and that's ultimately where I compare and do a lot of the comparing. I tell you, the super chats go to the front of the line. So, Devin, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for that. What's a good stat line for CJ in the first game? I mean, 4 for 4, 75 yards and a touchdown. Let's call it a day. I wouldn't mind that. A couple of nice passes. Okay, let's get more than 4. How about 7 for 7, 75 yards and a touchdown? That'd be a fun one, right? We'd all be happy with that. Hey, nothing else to see here. Let's get to joint practices with the Dolphins. I like D'Amico's comment about what he expects out of CJ Stroud from earlier in the week. And basically it's command the offense, command the huddle. And I don't know that the stat line is as important for what we're going to watch on Thursday night as much as how does it look? And if he doesn't look good, how easy is it to fix some of the mistakes that he made? I think that's what I would pay the closest attention to, more so than, 10 of 16 for, 118 yards or whatever, or something like that. So that's where I'm at. Devin, again, appreciate you for the super chat as well. J-Rock, I like the fact that Gerard Johnson and CJ have worked together before, really help him learning. Yeah, that's a relationship that's a big positive, and I've known Gerard for a few years. I don't know him real well, but I've done some radio with him in the past, and he's always been a fun mind to watch. It's been fun to watch his career journey, and this is a guy that interviewed for offensive coordinator jobs this past offseason. So there's a lot of love around the NFL for Gerard Johnson. Can Titus play with a cast on? I don't believe he can. No. Do you think Bobby Slowick's going to be elite offensive coordinator? Save that for the Q&A. We're going to put a pin in that. 713 Texas Skills. Appreciate the question. We'll get to that in the Q&A portion there at the back end. Oh, yeah, Steven. Colin Cowherd's a blowhard. Don't listen to him or the national people. I'll listen to your local guys like Cody and Landry. Yeah, Landry was live earlier tonight, taking care of his business. I'm live with the late night stuff. Look, Cowherd's job is to give opinions. I don't know that it's always backed up in the best way. He says, oh, what I've been hearing out of camp's not good. What I've been watching at camp has been good. So, the eyes and ears that are there that observe, that's who I trust first. And then that's who I would trust first. And then look, come up with your opinions. I haven't watched any of Anthony Richardson at Colts training camp. I don't believe in Anthony Richardson though. So I don't believe in him as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So I'm not, super keen on him, but that's primarily based off of his college stuff. That's not off of me reading stuff from Colts camp and not believing in him. Sean's right. Don't forget the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Seth, yeah, thumbs up. Thank you. J-Rock, the hat giveaway for the raffle that closed last week, winners will be notified tomorrow. I've been working on that. Winners have been notified tomorrow. Okay. All right, so I'm saving a few things about a couple of questions and things like that for a little bit later on, but let's get to the next thing here. How much should Stroud play in the preseason opener? How much should CJ Stroud play? So I do wonder with this coaching staff and the way that they operate, if there's going to be a plan that you adjust, or, hey, we know he's going to get out there and play this much, and when that time of the game is done, it's done, and we'll go to the next guy. So I don't think it should be a hard and fast plan. Like to me, you don't benefit from saying he has to play a quarter and he has to play X number of snaps. I don't know that that's necessarily the best way to go about it, but some teams operate that way. So it'll be interesting to see how the Texans, first-time head coach, first-time offense coordinator, first-time quarterback coach, it'll be interesting to see how they operate from that standpoint. Is there a hard and fast plan? He's going to play this much. And, hey, when the second quarter's here, he's out. Davis Mills is in. Doesn't matter about the drive. Or is it just a feel thing? Because, again, if Stroud comes out, dices up New England, which apparently is not going to play a ton of their starters, according to Belichick. If Stroud comes up, dices up the Patriots on the first drive, okay, maybe you give him a second drive and then call it a day. Personally and selfishly, I'd love to see about a quarter and a half. Where is he at the end of a quarter? Give him maybe a drive or two into the second quarter and then hand it over to Davis Mills. You got to understand what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to get him some teachable moments and some teachable reps. Too little, and you don't get enough out of it. Too much, maybe there's not a too much right now, but you want to be able to fine-tune and not throw too much at him. Because, again, this is the first professional football game C.J. Stroud's going to play. I know it's a preseason game, but it's the first one. It's not Bobby Slowick standing 18 feet away, and you can kind of look over there for a little bit of clarity on what the play call is. It's put the helmet on, cover up the ear holes, Slowick's talking. You got to get the play call in. Boom, kneel down. Hey, guys, this is the play call. Go out there, assess the Patriots defense. You don't know anything about those guys because you haven't been practicing against them for 2 weeks. And then you got to snap the ball and run the play. Like, it's drastically different than what he's been dealing with. So you don't want to give him too much. Like, you don't want to have information overload. It's like cramming for a test. Like, the test is not Friday. The test is not Saturday. The test is weeks away. So pick and choose out of that performance exactly what you want to see. So a few drives into the second quarter. I don't know that it's a full half because, again, you're going to get this. And then a few days later, less than a week later, the Miami Dolphins are in town, and you get 2 full days of really good repetition, really good work with an opposing defense, and you can work out a lot of stuff that way. And then whatever he does for the Dolphins preseason game. And I do think, there's a little bit to like, hey, let's get him out there in front of the home crowd. They get to see him for the preseason game. So to me, a little bit more than a quarter, get him into the second quarter, let him walk down to the other end of the field if they're on offense and try to get some things going. But if he comes out there and boom, he looks really good on 2 drives, okay, let's call it a day and put Davis Mills in there. Here's another aspect of this too. These 6 wide receivers that we felt like are going to make the team, Robert Woods, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, John Mechie, Noah Brown, and Xavier Hutchinson, those 6 guys. I don't know if all of them are going to play, and if they do play, I don't know that they're going to play very much, even if Stroud is still playing. It'd be useful to get C.J. Stroud some reps with John Mechie, Tank Dell, Xavier Hutchinson on the field. If those are the 3 wide receivers on the field with some backup tight ends, it's useful to get Stroud some reps with those guys because Mechie's going to play a key role in this team this year. Tank Dell's going to play a key role in this team this year. If Xavier Hutchinson makes the team as that 6 wide receiver, that's a guy that's going to be active on game day, you would think, and may have an opportunity to go out there, run some routes on game day early on in the season. It'd be good to get him in tune with those guys in the game. I don't know that you get that if he only plays a series or 2. And so that's why I'd like to see a little bit more than a quarter. I'd love a half. Like, obviously, Joe Blue, you've said a half. Somebody else said J-Rock, I'd give him a half. I'd love a half. Certainly. But I don't know that they're going to give him a total and full half because, again, you're going to get a lot of good work in the next week plus of training camp and of the preseason with the Dolphins coming to town and the preseason game against the Dolphins. And then, oh, by the way, shortly after that, you're going to New Orleans for some more joint practices. So it's cramming for a test. The test is not Friday. The test is not early next week. The test is in September. You don't have to learn it all after one game, so you don't need a ton of input after the first game. Get him some reps, get him out there, get him working. Okay? And get him a little bit of work with as many starters as you feel comfortable playing. All right? I say into the second quarter. That's my prediction as well as my hope. All right? As we talk about this preseason game, who are you excited to watch? Who am I excited to watch? Throw it into the comments, and we can get to that here in just a second. Obviously, Stroud is a huge answer to this question, but Juice Scruggs, the center, who's going to be the starting center, I'm excited to watch him. Tank Dell and John Mechie, those guys make a lot of sense. But there's a couple of, dig a little bit deeper, go beyond the stock answers. Obviously, Willie Anderson, however much he plays, it's going to be awesome to watch him go against somebody that's not George Fant, Titus Howard, Laramie Tunsil, and the Texans offensive line. So who you really digging for this game and excited to see? I think my big answer to this is Henry To'o. And I see people throwing the name in there. Henry T. Can't wait to see Hutch and Henry T. Like, Henry To'o has been a guy that's on the field when the best linebacker groups are out there in training camp. And there's a lot to like about him, especially from a between-the-ears standpoint when it comes to what he brings to the table from a football smarts standpoint. So I'm really excited to see To'o out there. 39's the number, so be looking for him. And I know that the testing wasn't great athletically, and he's supposed to be undersized. Neither of those things look like a problem when he is on the field. Neither of those things look like an issue when Henry To'o is running around out there on the field. So I'm excited to see it in a game and see it against whatever the Patriots run out there from an offensive standpoint. That's one of the guys that I am absolutely excited to see in this matchup. I don't expect a ton of the starting secondary to play necessarily. Steven Nelson, Derek Stingley, maybe some of these guys will be dressed out. I think you could see a few names not even dressed out from that standpoint. The wide receiver room is going to be fun because I got to imagine Nico Collins, Robert Woods, and maybe even Noah Brown don't play a ton. So that leaves you a lot of Tank Dell. That leaves you a lot of John Mechie. That leaves you a lot of Xavier Hutchinson. And then a couple of these other guys on the back end, Steven Sims, Jalen Camp, Johnny Johnson III, Alex Bachman, Jared Wayne. Like, those guys should get a lot of work here by about the middle of the second quarter into the second half as well. And a name that I was excited to watch, and I know my guy Landry's been talking about him a bunch, and he's made some awesome plays the past couple of practices. I was excited to watch Jesse Matthews, and, he's down now with the injury. So you're not going to be able to see him. That's unfortunate. I was really excited to see him in the preseason. That's a guy that I thought was going to have a big preseason and, really rip a practice squad spot away from somebody if he could play. But now with the injury, you stash him for a year. He comes back next year, hopefully. He's got a little work there. So who are you excited to see? We'll get to some of the comments here. I really want to see if Hutchinson's a bona fide wide receiver or not. I feel like he'd be a genuine steal from what I've read. I don't know when this team last nailed a pick in the 7th round. Well, Hutchinson was a 6th rounder. So not a 7th rounder, but 6th rounder, but late round pick. Look, if this guy is a potential wide receiver for you down the road, that's a good pick in the 6th round. Remember, it's not Isaiah Likely. That's the tight end in Baltimore. But this team a few years ago drafted a wide receiver in the 5th round, Isaiah Coulter from Rhode Island, who never really played in the NFL. And the team got rid of him pretty quick. He wasn't a player at all. And a couple picks after Isaiah Coulter, Donovan Peoples-Jones went, and he's been a nice contributor for the Browns for a few years. So even if he's not a contributor right away this year, Xavier Hutchinson's a nice selection. Heading into year 2, year 3. Even if he doesn't contribute a ton this year. So J-Rock says Dylan Horton. I don't expect Horton to play. He's been banged up with an injury, so I don't expect Horton to play in this game. So I don't expect him to play. That's unfortunate because Horton is a guy that's he's on the team. He's a 4th round pick, but he's got to get some work in here in the preseason to be in the rotation and be in the conversation to this point. Cody, you need a Texans background now since you're the unofficial Texans reporter of Texans football. I'm working on a background. If you guys know somebody that makes backgrounds like like those pop-up signs and stuff like that, hit my email, codystoots@gmail.com. I'd be happy to have a conversation with them, work through some stuff. I'm still working through finalizing a logo. I got some people working on some fun logo ideas for me. I like the HF that I came up with kind of in a crude way, but I got some professionals working on this stuff. So excited to see that. I want to see Dalton Schultz. He'll probably sit. Yeah, you can't really afford to have Schultz get banged up in a preseason game, and the work against Miami is going to be important for him. So wouldn't be surprised if he gets the sit. He sits. Nico Collins needs to prove he's a practice warrior. Unfortunately, that happens week 1 against Baltimore and the next 17 weeks after that. That's the tough part about Nico Collins. I don't care if he goes crazy in the preseason. He needs to play in the regular season well. Steven Sims Jr. With Matthews getting hurt, there should be some opportunity here from a practice squad standpoint for a wide receiver, and Sims could absolutely be the type of guy fighting for that spot. Patterson's banged up, so I don't think he's going to play. Beach, though, he should be in the conversation for the guard, a little bit of guard play later in the game. Deathridge not on the team anymore. He got cut for with an injury settlement. Zierer is important. So Brandon brings up an important name. Zierer is a giant human being out of Auburn. He's one of the tallest players on the team. And Killian Zierer, he's 6'7". He plays tackle. He's primarily played right tackle in training camp, though he's played a little bit of left tackle. And Zierer is the guy that if George Fant couldn't go tomorrow, Zierer would be the right tackle. And he hadn't looked very good, but he's also a rookie undrafted free agent. But he started every game at Auburn last year, originally born in Germany. And he's a guy that's fighting for some roster depth on this team to see if indeed, he's the backup tackle to this team right away. He could be the swing tackle from day one because Charlie Heck is recovering from an injury. And Fant, who was supposed to be the swing tackle, is playing because Titus Howard is hurt. So that is something that is worth watching. So he was 77 when camp started. Now he is 66. So pay attention to 66 tomorrow. Pay attention to 66 tomorrow when he's out there because he might be a 53-man roster guy and he might be the swing tackle when the season starts until Titus Howard's back. Quintiriano's still on the PUP list. He's not going to play. I would think he's really close to coming off the PUP list. So, man, he needs to get back. They need some help at that tight end spot. So he needs to get back. Yes, has been doing really good in camp. I don't know that he's pushing Griffin for a cornerback spot, but that's a guy that's a guy that's hold on, I want to get his number right so that you can pay attention to him tomorrow. 38, Kobe Francis, 38. He worked out with Stingley and Petrie in the offseason, so he's kind of in their crew. So pay attention to 38 when he's on the field. Justin had a good question, and I think it's time that we just throw it in to Q&A time. All right, just fire away. Q&A, we'll go through them and chat about them, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And I'll throw into the comment section the link if you want to hop on from a video standpoint, ask your question, go ahead and get in there. I'll go through some of those starred questions I promised folks that I would go through. So keep asking your questions. I'll get to them, as many as I can here as we're talking some Texans here on the YouTube channel. Would appreciate a like down below, as well as check out www.houfootball.com, Houston Football, my site where I do all my writing as well. Victor from earlier, underrated player to keep an eye out for. I went Saturday. I know he's our best player, but LT is a freaking brick wall. Laramie Tunsil is unstoppable in practice. And I say unstoppable in that he stops everybody, and he doesn't look like he's trying really hard to do it. Willie Anderson probably gives him the best work, and, Tunsil just, it's not difficult for Laramie Tunsil to succeed. Underrated player to keep an eye out on. Kobe Francis is one of those guys. Jake Hansen, 35, plays linebacker. That's a guy to pay a little bit of attention to. Could find that last linebacker spot if he plays pretty well here in the preseason and the rest of training camp. And then Mike Boone. Mike Boone has stood out a couple of different times, but running back 3 is wide open. Running back 3 is wide open. So somebody got to go up there and grab it. And preseason game against the Patriots, perfect opportunity to do that. 713. Do you think Bobby Slowick's going to be an elite offensive coordinator, as what you can tell so far? Cody, trust your opinion. Elite? I don't know. But I've gotten excited and more excited for Slowick as I hear more and more players talk about Bobby Slowick and talk about the way he teaches the game and the way he builds this offense. So I don't know. The NFL is going the way of guys like Bobby Slowick, and people like him are constantly successful at the NFL level. So I'm intrigued to see what Slowick brings to the table. I don't know. I can't tell you if he's going to be a lead or not, but I'm more excited about him than I initially was. A couple more, and then I see you, Brandon. I'll get to you here in just a second. You're right with Tank Dell coming out of the draft so far. I knew that kid was going to be a special player. We can't wait to see him with the big boys the regular season. Yeah. Didn't JJ play the cast one time? Yeah, he played. Was it a cast? JJ played through a ton of stuff, so it's always one of those things like, it's tough to compare people. Defensive lineman, offensive lineman, a little bit different though. O-lineman, a lot of grabbing. Defensive lineman, you can kind of, get your hands in there. Justin, you asked a good question about the wide receivers. We'll get to that here in just a second, but we got some folks that want to jump in here on the stream. Brandon, you there? What do you got for us here, man? You want to ask a question?
Yeah, I'm here with you, Cody.
What's up, man? What do you got for us?
Nah, I'm just wondering, I know you just addressed is Bobby Slowick going to be a good offensive coordinator or whatnot, but how does that, were you running some bootlegs? Do you see any trick plays out there? We got any wide receiver screens going? Are they doing any of that kind of stuff out there or what?
Yeah, so, somebody was asking me about what's this offense going to kind of look like, and, Keenum described it as the greatest hits of the West Coast offense. It's going to look like Kubiak's offense sometimes, where the defense follows their eyes and they get fooled. It's going to look like Shanahan's offense at times, where guys are running free over the middle. You hit them into the you crush the zone, and you got guys running free. This team's got to figure out what they're best at, and I don't know that they know that yet. And so with that, what is Stroud most comfortable with? What can the wide receivers do? And what do they do well? And I don't know if they know the answer to that, because the defense that you face in practice, they get familiar with you. They've seen a lot of it before here and there. So that's tough to kind of find out what you do well from that standpoint. And they may not know the answer until, week 6, week 7 of the regular season and really kind of dive in. But the big thing for me is they're going to try to maximize whoever's on the field from that standpoint. So if Tank's on the field, hey, they're going to get him into the zones and they're going to attack zones with Tank Dell's quickness. If Nico's on the field, they're going to try to beat that man coverage that he may face and try to hit him deep. Schultz is going to be anything from, a safety net to a guy that's attacking the zone. So I don't know that they know what they're good at just yet. And that's part of this offense evolving and getting to the next level. But I will say, Slowick's explanation where they got to build the foundation and then they can start kind of, they got to put the roots in, and then as the tree grows, then go off to all these different branches. That's something to pay attention to and be excited about as they get more time under their belt. They get more repetitions and they put some more stuff together from that standpoint. You got anything else for us, Brandon?
As far as offense, yeah, I mean, Andrew Beck, is he going to play a big role? What do you think?
Beck's on the team. You're going to see the fullback more than you have the past couple of years. And then he also plays tight end as well. So with the tight end room kind of being unsettled behind Dalton Schultz, Beck may see a tiny bit more tight end work initially. But yeah, Beck's on the team. He's going to play fullback, and they're going to use him a bunch of different ways. So yeah, he's I don't want to say he's a key aspect of this offense, but the fullback's on the field, and you're going to see more fullback. I mean, go think about what San Francisco did the past couple of years. Kyle Juszczyk. Beck ain't Juszczyk. There's only one Kyle Juszczyk, but the fullback's on the field. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run the football. He can, assist with the blocking, and that's a vet too. There's a. I think I told this story before, but Stroud sort of messed up a play at one point, and Beck was one of the first guys to come over and kind of, they're doing the drawing with their hand. Hey, you maybe should have done this or that, whatever. So he's been around a couple of years now, and so that's a positive to Beck being on the team too. But yeah, I mean, he's not a dynamic, amazing player, but he's going to be on the roster. They're going to use him.
Just seems like he'd be a good bootleg guy, coming out that backside.
Yeah, I mean, the emergency or the hot route or the quick stuff, look for Pierce, look for Beck, Schultz, one of these other tight ends that they sort of separate themselves. Yeah, there's a lot to get to. Brandon, appreciate you jumping in, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to stick around and listen to you.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to take you out of the backstage here, or you can stay in backstage if you want. I don't care. All right, Justin's good question. I'm going to try to get to as many of your questions as possible. So if I haven't got to you yet, I apologize. But Justin has a good question. Who's the leading receiver on the team this year, not including Schultz? So there's a couple ways to answer this. Who do I believe is going to be the leading receiver? And who should you want to be the leading receiver? Okay? And I see a lot of people answering a bunch of different ways. Some people saying Mechie. To me, you should want the leading receiver to be Nico Collins, because that means Nico's turned into a nice player. And that means that he's successful over the middle. He's successful with some deep posts. He's successful with the deep stuff. And Stroud's been able to find him. You should want the answer to this question to be Nico Collins. I believe the answer to this question is going to be Robert Woods. Just the preciseness that he operates with, the versatility to play a little bit inside, outside. He's a veteran. And he gets open in practice against all the DBs, so you want Nico to be the answer. I believe it's going to be Robert Woods, though. So that'd be my answer to the question. That's a very good question, Justin. I appreciate you answering that. All right, let's see here. Do you think Brandon Hill plays Thursday? I cannot tell you one moment where I have noticed Brandon Hill in the field in training camp. So perhaps not. I forgot that they drafted him twice this offseason. But I can't tell you one thing that Brandon Hill has done up to this point in training camp. Jake Hansen earned my respect last season when he made Derrick Henry fumble. That's funny. And that is true. I'll get to the who's returning kicks question here in just a second. Texas Ace wants to get in here. TX Ace, what you got?
Hey, Cody, can you hear me?
I got you, man. Fire away.
I got a couple of questions. So I don't know if you remember, or maybe you've already addressed it, but it's been a little while. At the end of last year, you were talking about wanting to find some war daddies. In my opinion,
Yeah.
I think the only one that we really had coming into the offseason was maybe like Laramie. Who, in your opinion, is probably the closest to who we have, or is it Will, or?
Yeah, so TX Ace is bringing back something that's one of my favorite things I talk about in football, and it's one of those old, war terms. It's war daddy, and it's just a game changer, an elite player, and typically you lean towards offensive linemen, defensive linemen, or pass rushers. Every now and then a wide receiver or running back. Like Derrick Henry is a war daddy. Okay, it's just a guy that just can change things, is physically gifted, is a freak, and Tunsil's the only war daddy the Texans have. Elite at what he does, physical freak, monster, one of the best at his position. He's the only war daddy that the Texans have. Will Anderson has war daddy potential. He has wrecked things in training camp for this offense. He has looked good in and out of pads. Just today, Von Miller's on Pardon My Take. He's talking to those guys, and Von Miller just goes, yeah, I think the kid in Houston, Will whatever, is going to be really, really good. That's Von Miller's one of the best pass rushers, maybe not now, but used to be one of the best pass rushers in football, was a second-team All-Pro his rookie year, and then was twice a runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. So, when Von Miller's throwing that out there and he's like, yeah, I've seen some clips and what I know about him, I think he's going to be really good. Tunsil says this week, Anderson's got everything you need to be great. Anderson's the potential war daddy. It's tough to give it to a rookie, but if he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year, official war daddy, absolutely, he'll join Laramie Tunsil as the war daddy for the Texans. What else you got for us, TX Ace?
Okay, and I was kind of on the Bryce or bust train coming into the draft, so I know we haven't had any, meaningful footage of CJ in the NFL at all, but knowing kind of what you've seen, if you could go back in time in April, would you change your opinion and be like, yeah, CJ's a guy that we can't pass up on?
So I was very much under the impression that they needed to draft a quarterback at number 2. And my order was Bryce Young was my favorite. CJ Stroud was number 2. Anthony Richardson was number 3. And then God, please don't draft Will Levis, but he's number 4. That was my order. I still believe in Bryce Young. I still believe Bryce is going to be a really good player. But I thought that Stroud had the opportunity to be a big-time quarterback as well. Did I believe in him as much as Bryce Young? No. I started the draft process and the final few weeks of the season as a Bryce or bust guy, but I turned into really quarterback or bust with a preference level of Bryce, little gap, CJ, big gap, Richardson, Grand Canyon size gap, Will Levis. So that's where I'm at on that standpoint. And if I could do it all over again, I'd see it's tough because I don't know if they could have gotten Bryce Young and Will Anderson. So if you're telling me the only way you end up with Will Anderson is to have CJ Stroud, like I'll live with it even though I really liked Bryce and I thought he was the best player in this draft. Like I'll live with it. I wouldn't go in the time machine and change it all.
You're talking about if they lost to Indy and they had one?
Yeah. Yeah, if they had one and they were able to draft Bryce, or if they traded up for number one, they wouldn't have had the capital to get Will Anderson. But if it's Stroud and Anderson or Bryce 12 and 33, like it. Yes, I understand how Bryce 12 and 33 could easily beat Anderson and Stroud, but like if it's just Stroud and Anderson versus Bryce, like I'm taking the two guys because Anderson's been really fun and Stroud's looked good.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. Those were a couple of questions I had. Thanks, Cody.
Awesome. Appreciate you jumping in there, man. Appreciate you jumping in. You guys can jump in and put that I'll put that there in the comment section. AB had a good question though. I want to get to that. Who's been returning kicks? Tank? Man, I think this is Desmond King's job to lose from a kick return or from a punt return standpoint. King was pretty good with punt returns last year. He finished. Let's see if I can remember the stat. He finished 9th in punt return yardage amongst guys who had 19 plus returns. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not going to be Mechie. He's had trouble fielding punts and kickoffs and stuff. So it's not going to be Mechie. It's Desmond King, I would say right now. Frank Ross, and I asked Desmond King about this actually. The big thing Frank Ross emphasizes on these punts and these kickoffs, don't screw up. Like 7 yards on a punt return doesn't mean anything if you're, putting the ball in an unsafe position to get those 7 yards. Like, who cares if you get 7 extra yards? Like, the offense will overcome that easily, and so take care of the football. These preseason games and joint practices are great opportunities for a guy like Tank to get some work, though. Hopefully, Belichick's kicking the ball in bounds. They're not kicking it out of bounds or anything like that. Sean G with a question. Who has to prove themselves the most to you? Slowick, Stroud, or Anderson? It's not Anderson. Anderson doesn't have anything to prove to me. He's been really good to this point. Good question. I will say Slowick because as you go further down, as you pick more fruit off the tree, that is Kyle Shanahan's coaching tree, it's had less time. And so, I'll say Slowick because there's more questions about him than there are about CJ Stroud. J-Rod, I think this was Keenum. But there's been a lot of praise for the way Bobby Slowick teaches things. So the praise for Slowick has been as a teacher and putting in a good system, installing it, and getting through a lot of that. All right, so Joe Blue asking a question. This is a really good question. They're using Pierce a lot in the passing game. Dameon Pierce worked on his receiving in the offseason. And Saturday, at the practice Saturday, and the Texans put the highlight up on social media, Stroud hit him. He came out of the backfield, and he cut it into the corner of the end zone, and he kind of skied for the ball, came down with it on his back, and had a nice play. They're going to throw the ball to Pierce a little bit more than I expected them to. And if he's successful, he's going to continue to get more. And I say this again, San Fran threw the ball to running backs and fullbacks 25% of the time last year. So this offense targets players out of the backfield. And if Pierce can hold his own from a get the ball in his hands standpoint, we know how dangerous he is when he gets the ball in his hands. If he can put some consistency together, he'll be a nice player. And, Devin Singletary can catch the ball too, but, if Pierce can do it, you don't have to take him off the field. Watching practice, I've moved Dameon Pierce up a little bit in my fantasy rankings. I maybe would. I wouldn't do like a big reach, but if it was somebody and then Pierce was maybe 5 or 6 spots away from that guy, I'd maybe take a swing at Pierce. Justin Woods is washed. He hadn't looked washed yet. It's training camp, so the regular season was what matters. He looked like he did not have much left in the tank in Tennessee. I hope he's got more than what he showcased in Tennessee, because if he doesn't, this wide receiver room starts to get pretty thin and really inexperienced quite fast. 2-part question. What position, if any, could benefit from a camp cut? Do you have a player in mind for that position that could be cut? I assume you mean, Sean, somebody cut from another team that the Texans add. I don't have a name in mind, but tight end. Because if you think it's Schultz is the starter, Quateriano once he's back, I don't know that anybody's like solidified themselves as for sure that third tight end. And especially if they keep 4 tight ends. If you keep 4 tight ends and 4 backs, so 3 running backs and a fullback, like I don't know that there's a third or fourth tight end for sure on this roster. So tight end is that position. I don't have the name just yet, but adjust your expectations appropriately. But at the same time, they got Jordan Akins right as the season was finished, or the preseason was finishing up last year. So maybe there's another Jordan Akins-esque person out there. Brandon, I think Petrie have a lot of opportunities for picks. Is he playing more of a free safety Ed Reed style? Obviously not the free range yet, just my optimism is high. The safeties do a lot of switching. So sometimes one guy's in the box and one guy's in the center field, so to speak. They switch off. They both just fly around. My goodness. And I'd bet money today Jimmy Ward gets in a fight when the Dolphins are in town. Devin, you think there's a chance Xavier Hutchinson, the rookie from Iowa State, will replace Nico by the middle or end of the season? Hope not, because that would mean Nico stinks. I don't know that Hutchinson's for sure on the roster. I would think he is. We talked to him today and on Tuesday here, and I asked him about special teams and getting used to it and playing special teams and how important that is to sticking around. And so, he's going to be a special teams guy initially and a backup. They've got a lot of guys in front of Hutchinson, because if Nico's down, Woods can play outside, Brown can play outside, Mechie and Dell can play outside, and all those guys are ahead of Xavier Hutchinson on the depth chart. Hey, Cody, thanks for the great work. Brandon, thank you for watching. Thank everybody for watching. It's fun to do these and talk Texans late at night and put the videos up and respond to the comments and stuff. It's fun stuff. Real excited for CJ7, Will Anderson, Tank, Hutchinson, and Mechie. Yeah, man, there's some fun players to get ready to watch here in the preseason and to read about when joint practices get here and stuff like that. Or to see in joint practices, because you're going to get the opportunity to see some of those joint practices here in town. See, it's a fun time. I wrote about this on Monday, and it went out this morning. The vibes around this organization and the feel that they do legit work is much higher than it's been in the past few seasons. Much, much higher. So I'm very excited to see these young players get the opportunities and just to see them, how they perform and then how they grow off of that, because I like this coaching staff and their ability to coach them up too. Going to my first Texans game this year. Is the food at the stadium good, or should I go elsewhere? I know Houston is a food haven. I assume that's what you meant there. If you know somebody that's tailgating, have some fun, get there early, tailgate, and eat before you get in the game, and then maybe have a snack some point in the game. When I was a season ticket holder way back in the day, and we sat in the, I think we sat in, I think it was 614 or like row 20 something. So I was closer to the back at the back and the top of the stadium than I was to the field by a good margin. I used to get the baked potato with chopped beef on it, and then I'd get the frozen lemonade. They had Minute Maid frozen lemonades. That was like the best deal in the building. I don't think they have either of those things exactly as when I was eating back in the day. But there's some specialty food in there. They do a good job putting some Tex-Mex in there. They do a good job putting some barbecue in there. Killins is in there, or the last I checked, Killins was in there. So they always do a really good job putting some different food options in there. Heck, it's a football game. It is expensive. But I don't think they do a bad job by any means. And there are some good values and some good buys in the stadium as well. But if you can find a tailgate that you know somebody or you like somebody or they're tailgating, have some fun at the tailgate, or just walk around and talk to some people. And people are real friendly at the tailgates too. I haven't seen a lot of tailgate nastiness from that standpoint in my time paying attention to this stuff. But these tailgaters do some incredible stuff, man. It's incredible stuff. Devin, piggybacking off the previous comment, what would be a realistic stat line for Pearson receiving yards? Put a pin in this. Ask me in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, when I do a little bit more fantasy stuff. Ask me in a couple weeks. I'll do a little bit more researching and prepping. DL, it's nice to have Texans fans excited about football again. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's part of the reason I'm doing this. The fan base is excited. What do we call it? Era of good vibes. Fan base is real excited and pumped up about this team. It's part of the reason I jumped into this solo endeavor that I have with Houston football, www.houfootball.com, and doing the YouTube videos. People are excited about this team again. There's interest in this team. There's reason to be interested in this team again. It's a crazy feeling that we are 2 days away from seeing D'Amico on the sidelines as the Texans head coach. Isn't it? Isn't that wild? D'Amico Ryans, he kind of downplayed it today. He was asked, he's like, "Hey, you're about to coach your first game as a head coach. What do you expect?" And he said, "I'm excited to watch guys, get better, watch guys play." Like he kind of pushed it off of himself. And that's something we're going to see a lot from D'Amico. He's going to take a lot of blame, even when guys play bad. And then when you try to give him credit, he's going to push credit to the players. So that's going to be a D'Amico MO over the course of the season. J-Rock says somebody gave him a free barbecue plate last year. Joe Blue finds some food at the tailgates. I think got a Trill Burger pop up for the home opener. Wouldn't surprise me if they tried to get Trill Burgers into the stadium. I don't know. But wouldn't surprise me. By the way, if you don't win a hat, some people in the raffle are going to win some stickers. I know it's not the bet. It's you getting a hat versus some stickers. It's a nice little step down. But some people in the raffle, a few people, I got plenty of stickers. Somebody can send some stickers out, even if you didn't win the hat. So, and then we'll have some more fun raffles, gift cards and stuff like that over the course of the next few seasons. Have y'all had Trill Burgers, by the way? I had it at the rodeo. Very good. Very good. I don't know that a burger is something I stand in a big line for, so, you roll past it and there's not a line. You can find some parking, pop in there, have you one. It's good. It's good. I still haven't tried the new Taco Bell thing. Let's see. We got the preseason game. Maybe that's a later this weekend thing. I'll try the Taco Bell thing. It's basically their like janky version of birria is what they're trying to do. It's not quite that. But that's kind of what it is. The new oh dang, what is it called? With the shredded beef, whatever it's called. Shredded beef grilled cheese burrito, something like that. I don't know. But and it's got the dipping sauce, you know. All right, so raffle for last week's closed. But we'll have more, and I'll reveal the details on lives over the course of when they're available and stuff like that. So, but the raffle for last week is closed. Let's see. Had a Schulberg at the night camp. Actually, wasn't bad. I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Let's see. Somebody asked me. Let's see. Rick, quickly. They didn't let CJ play full quarter. Yes. I'd like to see him play into the second. I don't know if he'll exactly get that, but I'd like to see him play into the second. They do a pretty good job with the TV setups in the stadium. Let's see. Somebody, I saw it. I can't find the comment. Somebody's like, "What's your football go-to food?" Right now, I'm trying to lose a few lb, so I'm primarily eating like just a crap ton of protein. But I'm a nacho freak. I love nachos. So, and you can make some pretty healthy nachos. You just cut up some low carb tortillas, air fry them, boom, cover them in some queso and some protein and stuff like that. I love nachos. That's my go-to. I'll eat stuff that I wouldn't eat on its own if you turn it into nachos. And I still think there's a market for breakfast nachos. Now, I've had this big conversation for a few weeks here, a few months now on Twitter. Breakfast nachos would be awesome. You take you could just use chips. You could just use fried tortillas if you wanted. Put them on a little bit of cheese, some sausage gravy, and some eggs. I mean, come on, breakfast nachos. Who's saying no to breakfast nachos? Let's see here. 713 TX Skills. Cody, you're born and raised in Houston. 5 generations of Mexican-American native Texan. So I was not born in Houston. I was born in Tennessee, but I got to Houston pretty quick after that. Houston surrounding areas. Lived in Crosby for a little while, but, Houston's home. I've lived in Houston pretty much my entire life with the exception of my 7 years in Lubbock for school and work. I did not go to school for 7 years. I know a lot of people that go to Texas Tech go to school for a lot longer than other people. But I was there at school and working. I did take a victory lap. Okay. I did take a victory lap. But yeah, I've lived in Houston pretty much my whole life. Let's see here. This is funny. 5-time. Booker T, nice guy. If you're a wrestling fan and Booker T does his fantasy camp, it's a fun time. It's very hard, but it's a fun time to hang out with Booker T and do some professional wrestling stuff. He does a great job with his reality wrestling thing. Did you hear on the drive them saying Woods was giving them Burkhead vibes? Yeah, I just totally disagree with that. Not seeing that at all. So, not seeing that at all. Now, I've been at every practice, and not seeing that at all. Vehemently disagree with this statement. Not a big jalapeno fan. I'm a fan of spice, but I don't love jalapeno flavor, and not a big jalapeno fan. So he said he's going to call the defensive plays. I don't know that I'm going to hold him to that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Burke ends up calling the plays at some point, or for portions of games. Brandon says the brisket queso from HEB is live. Put it on a baked potato. I'm interested in why Rick says this. Cody doesn't sound like a born and raised Houstonian. Well, I wasn't born here, but I've lived here basically my entire life. Is it the voice? I tell you what, you give me get 3 beers in here, I'll sound like I own 2 horses and a ranch. And the accent's coming out. I was on the phone with somebody the other night. You've been drinking? I was like, no. They're like, well, your accent's coming out. I was like, I don't know. Didn't know it was. I have not gotten rid of my accent on purpose, but it's not as thick in day-to-day conversation as it is after a few beers conversation. Have you given any additional thoughts on the pizza party for the season opener? I will continue to investigate this. And I would like to find us a place for people that do want to come out and hang out. You guys can meet each other. Some people that I've known for years from a media standpoint, and some friends of mine I met when I would go to radio station meetups back in the day before I worked in radio. So, my Astros group chat that I spend a lot of time talking Astros with, I met those guys through the radio station. So it's, you never know what you might end up, it's meeting somebody, end up being friends and stuff like that. So if there's enough interest to put one of these things together, man, I'm going to try to make it happen. So Sean, I appreciate you asking. Hold me to it. I'm going to keep investigating and try to find us something like that or similar to that. My favorite fat boy football food, chili cheese fries. Hell yes. Hell yes. I love chili cheese fries. I love chili cheese fries. Good snag there, Brown Chubby Bear. I kind of describe chilaquiles, but I want like a little bit more, southern down home biscuits gravy. Something like that. My accent's a little off. Well, Rick, hit that invite that I put in there. I want to hear what you sound like one of these days. Subscriber Fantasy Football League. If there's interest, we could put one of these together. I don't really want to do it for money right away, but at the same time, if you don't do it for money, sometimes it's tough to get people to pay attention the whole time, so on and so forth. I'm working on something. Maybe we don't do a traditional fantasy football league. Maybe we do a best ball league where you draft. It's sort of a set it forget it type of thing. Let's see. J-Rock for the HEB brisket queso. Okay. Sean G, I guess I'll pick it up from HEB this weekend. Late Night Texas talking a drink stream after the first win of the season. So I know I'm going to do a little post-game stuff with Landry after games. So I'm going to do some of that. But we could do some late night stuff as well, We can do some late night stuff as well. Let's see. I sure try, man. I sure try. Bacon cheese fries. Yep. See, this is where the live kind of just devolves into, hey, what's everybody chatting about? Wings. Yes. Man, I love wings. Man, there used to be a place over off West Park and Gessner, and I only went a couple times. Bonfire Wings, I think was the name of it. And they had a tequila something wing flavor that was magic. It was magic. I went, I ate it, and then I went back the next day and got just 6 wings of the tequila something flavor. So good. Man, bonfire. I think there's another one somewhere, but I don't remember seeing the tequila something flavor or something. But yeah, I remember that back in the day. And then, I like a good wing. Pluckers is tough to beat from a consistency standpoint. There's a bunch of people that do local wings that are really good. J Bar M, my guys at J Bar M do a really good job with wings. And my guys at J Bar M just made Texas Monthly for new and improved barbecue, a new list out from Texas Monthly. So check out my guys at J Bar M. Awesome place, especially if you go watch a Stros game, because you can eat there before the game, park, and then walk over to the stadium. J Bar M in Edo, great barbecue. They do, they add a different menu at night with steaks and some other stuff, and the wings. J Bar M, great spot. I've seen a couple of Galveston people. We may need to do a Galveston meetup here. A buffalo chicken spud. I don't know that I've ever had a buffalo chicken baked potato. Okay. I'm sticking primarily to the Texans. So we're going to talk almost all Texans with a smattering of college football. I am a Heisman Trophy voter. I've been a Heisman Trophy voter since the year Jameis Winston won the Heisman Trophy. So we'll talk a little college football on the channel as well. But it's going to be a football channel. And I guess food reviews at some point. So not a ton of Astro stuff. On the lives like this, you want to throw in some Astro stuff here or there. We can certainly chat about it, but we're not going to do any sort of dedicated Astros content. Let's see. All right, last few. If you mix some baking soda into your seasoning mix before you put it on your wings, on the grill, it comes out crunchy like they're fried. Ooh. What's up, Food Network? Nice little tip here. Saving that. I think I had their Mardi Gras wings. If that's the same place, it was excellent. Yeah. I don't know what it was called, but it's tequila something. Oh, my guy Devin. When you go to J Bar M, you go during the day, you sit at the bar, you hang out with my guy Devin. They do a great job out there. This guy can cook you up whatever kind of beverage you need. They got fantastic drinks there, fantastic barbecue. Go see my guy Devin. He and the rest of the crew at J Bar M do a great job. I may go see Devin this week for a little lunch. You never know. Okay? Be on the lookout. Devin, come see you. Big City Wings does a great job too. I love any place that'll give me a fried cheese block as an appetizer. 1 a.m. job orientation tomorrow. Only for you, Stoots. Feels good to talk Texans. Well, you guys, even in Florida, I feel like I'm in the H with y'all. Hey, hello from Florida, or hello to Florida, I guess. Yeah, man, I appreciate you tuning in. Having some fun here. Just, sometimes these turn into the BS sessions. If you're at this point, you're looking for the Texans, talk, the hardcore stuff, the breakdown from the practice, when should Stroud play, boom, you just hit the rewind button. Okay, you just hit the rewind button. But we're just hanging out BSing right now. Jim Ross's barbecue sauce is good. To me, the best thing Jim Ross does is the Chipotle ketchup. That stuff is awesome. And JR is a good dude. And he's an integral part of my childhood from all the different things that he is called in the professional wrestling sphere. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. Not so much anymore, but I know a little bit about it, and I think life a lot of times is pro wrestling. Life a lot of times is pro wrestling. Interacting with people, a lot of businesses are actually pro wrestling. You don't even know it. So Broad Chubby, I love some college football talk, especially in the context of players we should watch out for because we could potentially draft them. Brown Chubby Bear, you're already talking about draft stuff, and I love it. Never too early for the draft. One of my favorite things. Obviously, the games are my favorite, but outside of the week-to-week games aspect of the NFL, training camp and the draft are my two favorite things. Let's see here. Hey, HDAV Traveler. Fortunately, I live in Austin, so good barbecue restaurants. Man, there's some real good food out there in Austin. Man, where did I went one time and had Adam Richmond went there. It's the place that does the giant breakfast tacos. That was good. I know there's some touristy stuff that I've been to. Is it Hula Hut? Tiki Hut? Something? There's like some like Thai fajitas, I think I had one time. I have not always been with it while I'm in Austin. I think Pete Terry's is coming to Houston, but they got Pete Terry's in Austin, for a little burger and such. Oh, look at this, a little Red Raider. Going off to Lubbock on Thursday for college. Go Raiders. Man. Whew. You're getting there at a fun time. The city is as big and as bustling as it's ever been. There's a lot of good local food in Lubbock. A lot of your friends are want to go to chain restaurants. Yes, go. But there's a lot of good local food in Lubbock. Go try it. Go try it. And get and make sure you bring cash to whatever the pizza place is right there on University, because the ATM fees will eat you alive. John's barbecue sauce is good. It's good. I like John's sauce a lot. He's fine-tuned that recipe a little bit over the years and done a good job with it. I also do like Stubbs. I bought it, Stubbs, and I'm trying to be less fat these days. Stubbs has a sugar-free version that's still pretty good. Stubbs. Am I thinking about Stubbs? No, I'm thinking about Sweet Baby Ray's. Stubbs is good too, though. I'm thinking about Sweet Baby Ray's has the sugar-free version. I got a barbecue sampler pack when we were in Kansas City for the draft. The Wheelhouse was in Kansas City for the draft. Their barbecue sauce sucks. It's a 4-pack. And I don't like any of them. I think I've literally tasted each of them and then never used them on anything. Great take here. I don't like pickles, but I will eat some fried pickle chips. I like pickled things. I just don't like pickles. Fried pickle chips, way better than the Spears. Way better. Who's going to be the captains this year? Tunsil? Ward? Tunsil and Ward. Yeah. That's I don't know the rest of those. Tunsil and Ward. For that, I know Tunsil for sure, but I say Jimmy Ward. I'm gonna be live after the Dolphins preseason game. Gonna be in Lake Placid, New York. I'm gonna miss the game. Yeah, we'll have some content on the channel after the preseason game. I don't know if it's gonna be live with Landry. You check that out. We'll pull some highlights, throw it on here, or we'll go live after we do the thing with Landry. But yeah, there'll be some stuff on here. Overreaction, Browns mess around, give us a top 3 pick. And you guys know the deal. If the Texans use the Browns pick to select Marvin Harrison Jr., pizza party. Yes, that's the place I went with the breakfast burritos. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Pete Terry's like a go-to spot, but like, you do a little day drinking, and it's the afternoon before you go out at night, you grab you a little food. Grab you a little food. Yes, I am also looking forward to Indy Kalu on the TV preseason broadcast. I'm also looking forward to that. Indy's going to be fun, man. I'm excited about that. Bojangles. I've had me some Bojangles before. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm not a huge fried chicken on the bone guy. Obviously, I know how good it is, but I'm just not a huge fried chicken on the bone guy. If you're in Austin, you have to try Matt's Mexican restaurant. Super good. Okay. So if you followed the Wheelhouse, my old co-host Brad Kellner, he's firing up his own content here on YouTube. In fact, it's already off and running. Go check out BK's channel. I think the name of it's Texas Unfiltered. Texas Sports Unfiltered. Yeah, go check out BK's channel. And I'm going to go hang out with BK in Austin a couple times this year. Watch a little college football and hang out like that. So, I'll need some Austin recommendations at some point. KC doing barbecues like saying the Titans are winners. Well played. Well played. A lot of sweet stuff in KC. Not to say there wasn't good barbecue. There was some good stuff, but it's all real sweet. Real sweet up there. Moore's Honey makes a great barbecue sauce. They're online. It's where I get my honey by the gallon. Free shipping and local real honey. Moore's Honey. I just bought like a giant gallon from dang old Costco or Sam's, whichever one it was. But they have wing marinades too. Okay, all right. I'll give me some Moore's. Hey, maybe we'll call them and see if they want to be on the podcast. Get you a little breakfast burrito. Man, it's Matt, send me an email. CodyStoots@gmail.com. And I'll come up with some restaurant recommendations. There's a top 50 barbecue joint out there. I haven't been. I know it's been open since I got there. I haven't been, but check it out. I haven't been able to make it out there since it's got going. Yeah, it's already launched. So check it out. Texas Sports Unfiltered. We're here on YouTube. Texas Sports Unfiltered. Is Fred Fowler going to get back on the air with y'all leaving? I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over there at 97.5. Hey, appreciate you watching. I mean, this stuff's. I mean, if I was doing this for two people, I'd still be having fun. But hanging out with you guys, just chatting BS and whatever. This is good. It's good. Tough choice between Thunder Rosa and Maxime Dupree. Yeah, you had Alpha Academy out, then you had Thunder Rosa out, and it feels like the Texans are pro wrestling. Thumbs up on that. All right, I got to hit up HDAV Traveler when I go to Austin. He seems to have the scoop on the food. All right, couple more here. Couple more. Look at Rick. I make mead, so I get it by the gallon. I'm actually very impressed by this because I had some buddies that brewed beer in college, and it was awful. And so getting honey by the gallon to make mead, I got to imagine you're pretty darn good at it. Pretty good. Boom. Triple J's in Lubbock. Wonton. Fried wontons for their queso. So when you get the queso, it doesn't come with chips. It comes with fried wonton skins. And it's, at least it did when I was there. Delicious. And they brew local beer up there in Lubbock. Yeah, Triple J's. Boom. From what you've seen, was it worth the Texas trade in 2020? I mean, he's been awesome in camp so far. Is it worth it? I mean, we'll find out. I mean, it kind of feels like he needs to be defensive rookie of the year. You know? Cody wants to lose weight. Everyone talk about food. Man, I just put a list together, man. And when it's time to have a cheat meal, you just start crossing off the list, you know? And really, too, here's a little secret about here's a little secret about losing weight. Because I've been 400 pounds and gotten down to, 270. I've been 350 and gotten down to 300. I've yo-yoed my entire life. Here's a little secret. You want to eat something, eat something. Just don't eat too much of it. You want to have a little bit of ice cream, have a bite of ice cream. Just don't eat the whole damn pint. Don't go in there and take 18 scoops out of the gallon. You want to go have some chips and queso. Okay. Go have some chips and queso. Just don't sit there and eat 7 baskets of chips when you go to the Mexican food joint like I do. Don't deprive yourself. Sometimes with me, sometimes after you've been good for a little while and you give yourself a little treat, sometimes it jumpstarts things, gives you a little reset. All right. Hit the like button. I'd appreciate it if you did. How's Shaq Mason looking? Like a rock. What was that? Ford that used to do that? Like a rock. Oh, like a rock. Is that Ford or Chevy? It was Chevy, wasn't it? Dang it. Sorry, Ford. I'm a Ford guy. Let's see. Cody, love the new format. Used to listen to the Wheelhouse for your input. No disrespect to the other guys. Hey, thank you for checking it out. Had a lot of fun on the Wheelhouse. Appreciate those guys. And, excited to see what BK gets up to with Texas Sports Unfiltered. Excited to see what Jake does from the radio standpoint. Obviously, he's taking care of his business with the Jets YouTube as well. All right. Rick makes rum too? What are you doing? Makes rum, makes mead. What are we missing here? I'm actually very hungry as well. I'm actually very hungry as well. I'm gonna have to have like what I like is HEB's got a bunch of different sherbets, and they got a lime sherbet. So every now and then I'll fire up a couple spoonfuls of that there. Well, Patterson's hurt right now and hadn't practiced, and Dieter, I don't think is very good. So Kenyon Green's got some work to do, but don't give up on him yet. Let's see. Any good food, all in moderation. Yep. Yeah. We got to get Rick to the pizza party now. He's going to bring the rum and the mead. Yeah. Now people wonder if Rick's also growing some fun stuff. Oh man. I haven't read a lot about Bryce out of Carolina, but a buddy of mine used to work out there in Carolina. He used to do a radio show. Now he works in Cleveland. Nick Wilson, great radio guy. I'm gonna have to check with Nick, see who I need to be paying attention to out in Charlotte, and I'll do a little checking in on old Bryce here. All right, let's wrap it up there. After we spent 25 minutes talking about how great food is, because food is delicious. It's the best. All right, so I'm thinking we'll have another video up before the game. another video or two up before the game. So be catching that here on the channel. Obviously, www.houfootball.com. www.houfootball.com. If you want the written content, a lot of stuff going out there. Sometimes 2 times daily with the observations and the other articles that we put out there. So that as well. And then again, if you haven't hit the thumbs up button below, would appreciate the thumbs up. Would appreciate the subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel before, and appreciate you watching. Thank you guys so much. These are always fun. I enjoy these. I enjoy hanging out with the late night crew. If you're watching this after the fact and you sat all the way through this, congratulations to you. And I will do some more streams during the day and earlier in the day. So, we catch a lot of different people as well. So appreciate everybody. Thank you all so much for watching and talking Texans and talking food and all sorts of other fun stuff that we get into here on the program. You guys make what I do incredibly fun. And I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. Shanji knows how we finish it. Shanji knows it's my hope for you. It's also my charge for you as well as we finish up each of these. And that's for you to eat good, sleep good, and be good. And we'll talk Texans again soon.